السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. لقد وصلنا إلى الدرس العاشر. Alhamdulillah. We're now on lesson 10. And inshallah ta'ala, as normal, I'll read this dialogue and then I'll start to discuss the rules that we'll go through within this lesson, inshallah. In general, just always keep up with the vocab. This is a reminder, gentle reminder, to always just keep up with the vocab. The vocab is the most important thing to help you practice these rules, inshallah. So I'm going to just start from reading from here. ذهب زكريا لزيارة حامد بعد صلاة الفجر ولكنه ما وجده في البيت فقال لابنه موسى أين أبوك؟ موسى ذهب إلى السوق. زكريا أيذهب إلى السوق كل يوم؟ موسى نعم يذهب دائما إلى السوق بعد صلاة الفجر. زكريا متى يرجع من السوق؟ موسى يرجع في الساعة 7 وأحيانا في الساعة 8. زكريا ماذا يفعل في البيت؟ ماذا يفعل في البيت؟ موسى يقرأ الصحف ويسمع الأخبار من الإذاعة. زكريا متى يذهب إلى المصنع؟ موسى يذهب في الساعة 9:30. زكريا ومتى يرجع من هناك؟ موسى يرجع في الساعة 1:30 أو 2. زكريا أيذهب إلى المصنع مرة أخرى بعد الظهر؟ موسى لا يذهب بعد الظهر، يجلس هنا في مكتبه بعد صلاة العصر. زكريا كم عاملا يعمل في مصنعكم؟ موسى مصنعنا ليس بكبير، يعمل فيه 125 عاملا ومهندسان. زكريا الساعة الآن 9:45 وما رجع أبوك؟ موسى لعله يرجع اليوم متأخرا. So here we can see, I'm just going to highlight some of the points that I want us to think about, inshallah, or what we can observe what's new in this lesson. So, for example, before lesson 8 we learnt ذهب, like the past tense verb, but now we learnt يذهب, which is the present tense form of the verb. So in this lesson we're going to speak about present tense verbs. As you can see, يرجع, this is also a present tense verb. يقرأ, يفعل, and we'll discuss these shortly. Also, what we're going to talk about today is numbers, larger numbers, like 125. These kind of numbers, we'll talk about these today also in this lesson. So as you can see, there's some points that I'll just highlight that we have learnt before. That's why you need to make sure you're familiar with them. For example, we have Kam. Kam is in Medina book 1, and Kam Amil, and what comes after it is singular, indefinite. Mansoob takes fatha, and Kam is a question, istifham لطلب العدد, to ask how many, okay. Also, we've learned lakinnahu before. Lakinna means however, and whatever comes after it takes fatha. As for now, it's the pronoun attached to it, so it doesn't change. Lakinnahu. We don't say lakinnaha because ha is used for the feminine attached pronoun. Also, we've learnt previously laysa. Laysa is a way to negate the nominal sentence. So laysa bikabirin. So laysa masna'una bikabirin. Our factory is not big. So laysa is to negate the nominal sentence. Okay. And la'alla. La'alla is also from the sisters of inna. Just like lakinna, it makes the noun that comes directly after it take fatha, but however, now is attached pronoun. La'allahu, and it's used to mean perhaps or maybe or I fear, depending on the context. As we hear, perhaps here would be perhaps la'allahu yarji'u al-yawm muta'akhiran. Perhaps today he's going to come back late. So these are just some of the things that we have learnt previously. Also, something to pay attention to is negation with la. When we negate present tense verbs, we use la, okay? So when I want to negate a past tense verb, for example, here he says la yadhhabu, he doesn't go. But if I want to say he didn't go, I say ما ذهب. ما ذهب. That's to negate the past tense. When I want to say he's not going or he doesn't go, لا يذهب. So we use لا for present tense negation. ما for past tense negation. So I would say, for example, ما ذهبت. I didn't go. ولا أذهب. And I'm not going. Like this. So this is the difference between la and ma when it comes to verbs. Ma is used to negate past tense verbs. La is used to negate present tense verbs. And we'll see similar things like this as we go along. So just to point out now, you have your first tamarin, remember meaning plural of tamrin, exercises. The first one, ajib anil as'ilat al-atiya. Answer the following questions. Now, these questions are going to be your understanding of this dialogue, inshallah. So go through them and remember to use the answer key that's now uploaded on the resources page to check your answers while studying the book. تمرين الثاني يعني صحح ما يلي, correct that which follows. And you have sentences again based on the dialogue. You are to correct these sentences if they're incorrect. Those which are, most of them incorrect, if not all of them. So correct them, but using the language from the dialogue, inshallah. And here it says, تأمل الأمثلة الآتية. Ponder over the following examples. Now this is to highlight for you the difference between the past tense verb, الماضي, and the present tense verb, المضارع. So as you can see, ذهب علي إلى المدرسة أمس. Ali went to school yesterday. يذهب علي إلى المدرسة كل يوم. Ali goes to school every day. يذهب versus ذهب. قرأ إسماعيل القرآن. يقرأ إسماعيل القرآن. Okay, and the rest of the sentence. غسل الرجل سيارته. يغسل الرجل سيارته كل أسبوع. So you can see the difference between the past and the present tense. The past and the present tense. Why we have extra information when we've made it a present tense sentence? Because, for example, يقرأ إسماعيل القرآن بعد صلاة الفجر كل يوم. When we use the present tense verb, it's either to show an action that happens as a habitual thing, or something that happens right now, something that's happening right now. And when something's happening right now, we usually say الآن. For example, we say يقرأ إسماعيل القرآن الآن. Ismail is reading the Quran right now. As for in general using the present tense verb, then in general it's used for an action that always happens. For example, يذهب علي إلى المدرسة كل يوم. Ali always goes to school every day. So that's a habit, an action that's often repeated. So that's the benefit of using the present tense verb. Here in التمرين الرابع ستعمل الأمثلة واكتب مضارع الأفعال الآتية. It says ponder over the following examples, which is the first line here all across, and then write the present tense verb of the following. Write the present tense of the following verbs. So you have كتب يكتب, جلس يجلس, ذهب يذهب, سمع يسمع. Okay, so basically we have patterns of verbs that I will highlight for you here. So kataba is fa'ala yaf'ulu. Okay, so that's the pattern, fa'ala yaf'ulu. Jalasa is fa'ala يفعل. ذهب يذهب is فعل يفعل, i.e. the ayn takes fatha in the present tense. And سمع, the last one, is سمع يسمع. This column is فعل يفعل. Okay, now I'll talk about this later again, inshallah, and it will be repeated in Medina Book 3 as well. that there's variations to the form one. This is a form one verb, okay? For now, don't worry about the amount of forms. Just know this type of verb here is a form one verb. In Medina Muqtu, we will studying form one verbs and their variations. But here, the variation I want you to pay attention to is the vowel sounds change in the present tense. So if we look here, this is an example, just to make it nice and bigger. Fa'ala, yaf'alu. That means to do, okay? So fa'ala, when we make a present tense, we add one of these letters. A for ana, noon for nahnu, and ya for huwa, third person, and ta for second person and third person female. We're actually going to see this in lesson number 11. We'll discuss about the attached pronouns for conjugating the present tense verb. But what I want you to see now, because we're just using fa'ala, yaf'alu. These are called huruf al-mudari'ah. Huruf al-mudari'ah, i.e. letters of the present tense verb, okay? Huruf al-mudari'ah, okay? And they're letters of the present tense verb. So we add one of these letters to the beginning of the verb to show who's actually doing it. So yaf'alu, ya represents huwa, okay? Fa'ala, yaf'alu, okay? Now the ayn letter of the verb can change. It can be kasra, fatha, or dhamma, as we can see in the examples of the verbs here. So if we have kataba becomes yaktubu. Okay, so it's dhamma in the middle letter. If we look at jalasa becomes yajlisu. So it becomes kasra. This is something you just have to learn as you go along. The best dictionary for this is a Hanswehr. If you're looking for a dictionary, that's Arabic and English, Hanswehr dictionary. I will show you and I'll make a video of how to use the Hanswehr dictionary in this regard, with the verbs and how it changes. So jalasa, yajlisu. But for now, you kind of just learn it while your teacher shows you. Whenever you learn a verb, you always learn the past and the present at the same time, okay? But then you just need to know that it falls under categories. That which becomes dhamma in the ayn, that becomes kasra in the ayn. And then you have one that was, that remains as fatha, like dhahaba, yadhabu. Okay, then you have one that started off as kasra, like sami'a, that what is equivalent to the ayn of fa'ala, which is the meme here, becomes fatha. So it starts off as kasra but becomes fatha, yasma'u. Okay, so this is something to remember and take note of. And you have 4 categories here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now all the verbs underneath each of those categories follow the pattern of the example that's above it. So you have to basically write the present tense of all of these verbs following the example. So kataba yaktubu, dakhala is going to be yadkhulu, okay? Jalasa yajlisu, ghasala yaghsilu, dhahaba yadhhabu, raka'a yarka'u, sami'a yasma'u, fahima yafhamu. So it follows the example of the verb at the top of its column, okay? Then we have التمرين الخامس أكمل الجملة الآتية بوضع فعل المضارع مناسب في الفراغ. Complete the following sentences, placing a suitable present tense verb in the empty spaces. Okay, so use the vocab that you learned of the verb so far. Especially use the vocab list. If you don't remember them right now, just have the vocab list accessible to you and choose a suitable present tense verb to complete these sentences. Ponder over the meaning, make sure you give it the best possible meaning, inshallah. Let me just quickly rub this out so I can show you the new rule of numbers that you're going to see now. So we've learned a few different rules about numbers from 3 to 10, 11 to 19. But now we have those larger numbers, 21 to 99, as this rule is going to apply for 21 to 99. Okay, so it's very, very simple. Very simple rule. And I'm just going to show you something. I'm going to mark here, واحد, this column is U, units. 20, T, tens. N, noun. Okay. Point to note. In this type of number, when you're saying 21, like the larger numbers, you say the unit and then after you say and 20. Okay, so واحد وعشرون, 1 and 20. And as I've mentioned before, the thing you're counting, the noun you're counting, which is Taliban, from 11 to 99 is going to be singular, indefinite, and take fathatain. Okay, now what's the rule of counting? The unit of 1 and 2, just these two, agrees with the gender of the noun you're counting. That's because 1 and 2 is always considered an adjective. Okay, and we learned this before when we count it from 1 to 10. 1 and 2 always agrees with the gender of the noun that you're counting. Now, the opposite gender occurs from 3 to 9 because 10 becomes a new 30, 40, and they're gender neutral. So 3, ثلاثة طالبا, it's opposite gender. Okay, so opposite gender of unit and noun from the 3 to the 9 of these larger compound numbers, 23 to 29, 33 to 39 until 99. That is the rule. The unit is opposite gender of the noun. Okay, and the noun is written singular, indefinite. Mansub, ay, takes fathatain. So if we had a female student, it would be, for example, ثلاث, masculine number, وعشرون طالبة. ثلاث وعشرون طالبة. Okay, so that's the rule. And then now they want you to apply this rule in these following sentences, and it will continue on to the next page. So they've written it as a number. Now they want you to write this as words. Write out these sentences and then write the numbers as words in the sentence. And we'll see the last following exercises on the next page. So, yep, completed. There's 7 sentences for you to write out the numbers as words. Then it says, تأمل ما يلي, ponder over what follows. And this is the usage of مبكرا and متأخرا. مبكرا means early, متأخرا means late. Okay. Now we use this as a circumstantial clause in a sentence. For example, they come at the end of a sentence. If they're there or they're not there doesn't affect the authenticity or the sentence being correct. The sentence will still be correct with or without them. However, they add an extra feature to the sentence, an extra detail. So for example, if I read the first one, it says ذهبت إلى المدرسة اليوم مبكرا. I went to school today مبكرا, early. So it gives you a extra detail of the circumstances of me going to school. Okay, and when we use these nouns, they come at the end of the sentence and they come with fathatain also, indefinite with fathatain. So ورجعت إلى البيت متأخرا, and I returned home late. Okay, so examples of these kind of words is دائما, always, أحيانا, sometimes, متأخرا, late, مبكرا, early, مرة أخرى means another time or again. You can say again, another time or again. So just read these sentences, ponder over this usage, something to add in your language use, as this is part of Arabic style, adding these extra features of the sentence that do not take away from the sentence being correct or incorrect. However, it provides us with an extra detail that we can use within our Arabic language. So again, this is a summary of the things that we covered in this lesson. Was the present tense verb. That was introduction to the present tense verb. The next lesson, inshallah, we will start to discuss how to change or conjugate those verbs to show who's actually doing it based on pronouns, inshallah ta'ala. And I'll see you guys next lesson. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.